Hello and welcome to MP520, the final ARP informational. My name is Jim Moore and I'm going to be your instructor for the course. To kind of go over what we're going to talk about, I'm going to go and give a brief introduction about myself and background, then talk a little bit about the MP520 course overview, the auto attendance policy, the applied research project submission packet, ARP evaluation criteria and the process for the final project deliverable, course submissions in MP520, Canvas information, Smart Thinking tutoring support, NCADE information, academic integrity policy and Turnitin.com information, technical support contact information, and lastly, my contact information. So a little quick background on myself. I actually received my undergraduate degree in applied psychology from the University of Illinois at Chicago, then went on to earn a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology from Elmhurst College. And I just started my second year in the organizational leadership PhD program at the Chicago School. I've worked a lot in financial compliance and business analysis prior to working at the Chicago School, and also have some experience in working in fleet management. In my spare time, I enjoy working as an actor in the city and also enjoy watching Chicago Cubs baseball. So for the MP520 course, really the main crux of this course is submitting your final project deliverable. It comprises everything that you've completed up to this point, plus a couple of other additional items that you'll include in your combined packet, which will be submitted as a Word document at the end of week 4 this term. I'll be looking at drafts of your packet in week 1 and week 2, but that's really the primary deliverable, and you'll also be at the end of, after submitting that packet at the end of week 4, you'll be receiving in the beginning of week 6 defense questions, 5 questions in total that you'll need to respond to and submit. You'll have about a week or so to answer those 5 defense questions, and that'll give you an opportunity to defend your projects. In terms of the auto attendance policy, for those of you who haven't yet done so, please make sure you post an introduction in the Student Introductions tab. You need to make that post between today, which is 9/2, and actually it should be by tonight, Wednesday, 9/3. Make sure you make that post in order to be counted as present for attendance purposes, if you haven't already done so. If you did it beforehand, if you did it like on Monday, go back and make another post just to make sure it was done between this Tuesday and Wednesday time period, because the school can be really picky about attendance purposes and recording it within its designated week 1 time frame when that class is actually started. So just make sure you do that. And then also just be aware that in terms of the attendance policy in the student handbook, posting and discussion introduction forums is the way you're counted as present. And once you've done that, there's no other action needed, and you should be all set. So in terms of the applied research project submission packet, like I said, you're going to be making 2 submissions in the first couple of weeks of the term. This week 1 submission is just going to be the initial components, and really that's just going to consist of the title page for your project, a signature page which is available in the modules of the course. If you need that, I can always send it to you if you're having trouble finding it. And then an acknowledgement page if you want. That's optional. If you want to give anybody thanks or credit or whatever, you could include that, but you don't have to. And then an abstract, which is also in the modules of the course and the materials. There's information on writing an abstract, but basically it's a high-level 150 to 250 word summary of your project and what it consists of, what it plans to analyze, what it expects to find, those types of things. Kind of a similar condensed version of your proposal in just a brief paragraph, basically, that consists of this word total. And then your table of contents will follow your abstract. And that's all you're submitting in this week 1 submission are these items. The remaining sections you'll be submitting in week 2 also consist of your other completed deliverables, which is the proposal, literature review, methodology. There's also a section you'll be writing in week 2. It's called the discussion section. And that's basically a 1 to 2 page project that describes what the rationale for your project was, any ethical considerations that relate to the project, as well as how cultural awareness and diversity, how that aspect applies to the project. And there's a form in the course, and I'll be posting it in the announcements as well, called What to Include in Your ARP Packet. And it lists the different project types plus the different documents. And that document gives a description of that particular document about what to include in your final ARP. That document includes kind of a high-level overview description of what that discussion section consists of. But that's going to be another item you'll be including and submitting in week 2 with your final draft deliverable that you'll send to me that I review and give you feedback on. And then the last component of that will be your references section and also the peripheral documents that you completed in ARP Seminar 4. So following the discussion section will be the ARP peripheral documents, and then your last section of your packet will be your references section. And then I'll provide you with that feedback after that week 2 submission. You'll have all of week 3 to apply the feedback and make any changes as needed. And then your final ARP packet that you submit for final review to the ARP Showcase Committee gets submitted at the end of week 4. So that's kind of the timeline in terms of completing this submission packet and putting all of these final deliverables together that I mentioned. In terms of the evaluation criteria and process for the ARP, it's really 4 competencies that you're evaluated on that the Showcase Committee ultimately provides you with a final evaluation. Those include conceptual rigor, contribution to the knowledge base, which is basically what does the project contribute outside of standard information? How does it kind of make a contribution to the field based on what you're providing in terms of your deliverables. And then the conceptual aspect, making sure that you covered particular themes and concepts, theories that apply to your topic in the writing, that it's grounded in those items, and that you kind of take theory to practice, which is kind of the basic tenets of the ARP. Professional relevance, does your project practically apply to what you're trying to address? And the written presentation, which is making sure that there's no writing errors, that it follows APA formatting. Basically, if you just follow my feedback, you should be okay there. And as I mentioned, at the end of week 4, you'll be submitting that final ARP deliverable, and then the Showcase Committee will be reviewing your work in week 5 of the term. And then that Monday of week 6, you'll be receiving in Canvas your 5 defense questions, which will basically be requiring you to answer items, I'd say about an average of 250 to 350 words, kind of just expanding on maybe certain topics in your project, maybe a certain item that needed more explanation, or why you decided to choose a particular project type, questions like that basically. And you'll have all of week 6 then to complete those defense questions, and then those are due at the end of week 6. And then by that Wednesday of week 7, you'll be receiving status letters, assuming your project that you submitted everything you need to and completed everything. You'll be getting an approval letter plus an evaluation form, a final evaluation based on those competencies I mentioned. So, just again to kind of review, I'll be looking at your week 1 and week 2 submissions and giving you feedback on those. So make sure you submit those to Canvas so that I can give you any last-minute feedback as needed and kind of comment on the completeness of your project submission with that week 2 one and everything. And then, like I said, you'll be submitting the final version that Sunday night at the end of week 4. Make sure you submit that one on time because that submission goes to the showcase committee. So it's important that you kind of follow directions and submit it. Always check the course announcements in case anything changes, but make sure, at least with that week 4 submission, that that is definitely on time so that there's no issues getting your packet over to the showcase committee and reviewed, because late submission packets are typically not accepted. And then, like I said, you'll be receiving the defense questions at the beginning of week 6, and they'll be due at the end of week 6. And if you include any citations in your defense answers, make sure you also include a references section with that as well. In terms of course information, always make sure you're checking Canvas and going through any course announcements that I'll note will be important. Also, my instructor contact information is there. If you need to ask any general questions in the discussion section, you could do that. That apply to the kind of course in general and in awareness of the other students. If it's something just specifically pertaining to your individual work, probably best you just contact me individually and email me. And also, too, if you see anything relating to learning outcomes, which will be kind of numerical scores on particular items in your feedback from the week 4 submission that are separate from the evaluation form, don't pay any attention to those. It's really more just kind of a criteria evaluation of the course. Just pay attention to the evaluation form you receive as a Word document in week 7 that I mentioned. Smart Thinking Tutoring Support still available in Canvas if you need it. It's there if you need some general writing support outside of the feedback I provide you. You can schedule time to chat with a live tutor depending on their schedule. You can also submit work to be reviewed by a tutor or send them a question offline. So that resource, if you need it still, is available for you. NCADE's goal, the department of what the ARP instructors work under, is to advance academic and performance scholarship at the Chicago School. You can always email tutors through NCADE as well. That will provide you from the Center of Academic Excellence writing feedback if you need any, again, additional feedback. Their email is here. It's etutors@thechicagoschool.edu. Phone number 312-488-6054 if you need to contact NCADE. Academic integrity and Turnitin information. Just remember that with Turnitin.com, your information is automatically submitted, your assignments, and you can always review that information in your submission details for your assignments. If you have any problems with originality percentages, like for example, if you didn't paraphrase when you needed to, then you can always go back and redo that and make sure you're paraphrasing. I've already kind of gone through most of the deliverables with you, so there shouldn't be any issues here. If it's something related to a prior submission, I should have removed that from the settings, but if for some reason it comes up, don't worry about that because you've submitted these deliverables over and over. Just make sure, again, you're paraphrasing information and kind of just make sure you brush up on the policies relating to academic integrity and in the policy handbook. But like I said, we've kind of gone through things, so I don't anticipate any issues there. If you're having any problems in Canvas, there's a 1-800 help desk number you can dial that's 24 hours only in the U.S. There's also a 312 number for those outside the U.S. and internal phone number if you're in the school is extension 8600. But that information is also in the help section of the course in Canvas. My contact information is here. It's also in the course. Please feel free to contact me at any time with any questions you have via email, Skype, phone. Generally try to make myself pretty available to answer any questions you have. So please make sure you definitely let me know if there's anything you need to ask me regarding the questions about the final project or review or anything like that, and I'll be happy to help. So that's going to conclude this presentation today. I'm going to open the floor up for questions and stop the recording. Thank you so much, and have a great term. Take care.